When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Put into my open.
I hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here the GoatLocker Racing starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion. Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment, and welcome back to tonight's coverage of GoatLocker Racing's Cruisin Classics Wednesday Night Next Gen Series. This is race number 14 of this season, coming to you tonight from Richmond. This broadcast is, of course, being brought to you tonight exclusively on Maconi Entertainment, here to bring the action to life. My name is Ron Mullins. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Jeremy Briggs. Marty Zakala is our producer for tonight's broadcast, using cameras by Whiplash Simcams. And now, Jeremy, tonight we're here to set the final 4 for this season. We've already got 1 driver locked in, but outside that, it'll be a battle with the 7 drivers left.
Yes, those drivers are just on the outside looking in. They're going to possibly have to win their way in. You can see Eddie Smith, Brandon Evans on the north side of that cutoff line. You got Levi McCarty and Timothy Williams, Jason Taylor, and Jesse Whittington on the outside looking in. Trying to get in there. And man, there's the best part about playoff driving in this type of racing is the other cars on the track. Yes, there's 8 drivers trying to win the trying to get in that championship 4, but we've got at least 17 cars here tonight also racing on the track.
Got a whole lot of drivers out there on this racetrack. Originally opened back in 1946, this 3/4 of a mile racetrack is a gem in the world of NASCAR racing. This current configuration, it hasn't been around for forever, but ever since this D-shaped track was first introduced into real life and obviously brought into the sim, it's played the host of some many iconic events over the years. But this is going to be a good one here tonight, setting the final 4 and getting ourselves braced for what is going to be a true thriller for the final race of the season in 1 week's time, coming to live on May the 7th at Texas Motor Speedway. And if you'd like to be a part of the action here from the GoatLocker Racing series, GoatLocker Racing wants you scan that QR code and you can learn how to be a part of a series organized by GoatLocker, whether it be this or many of the other series that are organized by these fine folks. GoatLocker Racing wants you to join in on the action. Scan that QR code right now if you'd like to be a part of the racing action. But Jeremy, we're presently in the midst of qualifying, looking pretty good for Evans in that number 39 car, but a lot of playoff drivers up towards the top of the running order.
Yeah, and there's no surprise to see the teammates, Evans and Gardner, starting on our front row for that Jam Printing Promotions pole award. That's going to go to Brandon Evans.
It's always nice to see something like that. That's going to be a good pull for that driver. And here's the starting grid. Brandon D. Evans going to grab that Jam Printing and Promotions pole award, setting a 21.935 to set the pole. Jeremy Gardner set to join him on the front row. Jesse Whittington in third. Jamie Barkas will start this race in fourth. We have Jason S. Taylor in fifth. Jacob Ellingson in sixth. Corrine Smith will start this race in P7 alongside Eddie Smith in 8th. We have Levi McCarthy starting in 9th and George Jewell rounding out our top 10.
And just outside that top 10, you got James Kaufman, that 25 machine. Patrick Drabeck in the 07 starting in 12th, already locked in to that championship race out here, just getting some laps in with the other drivers, trying to keep some of these drivers on the outside out. Timothy Williams, 13th. Charles Abert is 14th. 15th belongs to Tyler Justice. 16th, Charles Feltz. And 17th, running out our field, Bobby Germain.
So those are going to be our 17 starters for the second to last race of this season. The field going to be led to the green by Evans. And as we talk about the winner of the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award, we should probably talk about Jam themselves. Based out of Plainfield, Indiana, Jam Printing and Promotions are local, are veteran certified, and when they do well, they can do good in the community too. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with GoatLocker Racing since the very beginning. They provide GLR with all promotional items, including shirts, hats, decals, dog tags, you name it. Jam is GLR's go-to promotional company. We would like to thank Jam Printing and Promotions for being a sponsor of GLR and the sponsor of the Jam Pole Award. This is going to be a good one, though, Jeremy. Let's take a quick look at how this race is going to shake out.
Absolutely, Ron. Here at this 3/4 mile racetrack, 115 laps is the distance, no fast repairs. And last week we saw that play big and early on in the race, only 3 tire changes with the tires on the car. Fuel window 125 to 135 laps, so we should be good to go on fuel all night long. Tires is the name of the game here, Ron. Excuse me.
Super important to try and manage those tires. Make sure you can make it all the way to the end of this race with enough rubber at the bottom end of your race car to be able to keep it to the road. We have 17 drivers all looking to have a good night of racing action here at Richmond. A rather short race in front of us as well, as we take a look at the live action of these drivers behind the wheel of their race car, set to grab the green flag in a couple of moments' time. Those are the racers looking to punch their way into that championship 4, and let's see how they'll be able to do. One driver who's going to have a very good evening is going to be the 07 of Drabeck. He's already punched his way into the top 4, but here we go. One more this time by. We're bracing ourselves for what's going to be a fantastic night of racing action. Drabeck, as I just said a couple of moments ago, he is already into the playoffs. He's already into that championship 4. 3 spots still open at the end of these races. At the end of this race for these racers, I should say. It's going to be a fun night of racing action. And we were talking about this a little bit before we started this broadcast, Jeremy, about how short this race is, 115 laps. It's not a big race here at Richmond. That can go by in the blink of an eye. So for these racers, it is going to be action-packed. It's going to be intense. It's going to be quick-paced as well. But that pace car making the turn to come down pit lane for the second to last time in this season, waiting for that race start to come. The green flag then, and the drivers are on their way. And as the two teammates start this race at the front of the field, you see drivers going side by side all throughout this field. looking to make moves very early on in this race. Not a lot of time left for these racers, so they need to make moves and make them very, very early.
Can't believe the spring season's winding down so quickly. Lap 1 complete. Onto the books, under the green flag conditions. One driver always has different paint schemes every week, but they always stand out there. Right now running in third, Jesse Whittington. If you take a look at our tracker right there on your left-hand side, the drivers in yellow are not locked into the championship 4. The driver in green, the 07, he is locked into the championship 4 with a win last week.
Looking at the top 4, all consisting of drivers looking to punch their way into the championship 4. Evans, Gardner, Whittington, and Taylor all at towards the top as the 87 looking to get some moves done as well. That's going to be a good story to keep our eyes on. Which one of those drivers is going to have the best car right towards the end of this race? Riding on board Marcus in the number 15 car finds themselves in 5th as it stands at the present moment, but the drivers in front of them, the likes of Evans, Gardner, and Whittington, along with Taylor, all of them are currently looking from the outside in to try and punch their way into that championship 4. As here comes Smith in the 87 car side by side with themselves and Ellingson heading off through 3 and 4, trying to get moves done.
A couple of drivers right here, pretty much a playoff sandwich. Marcus and Ellingson right there running 5th and 7th right now. Ellingson putting on a good fight there on the outside of Eddie Smith. Ellingson, the driver all season long, is hard luck. You know, anybody who should get a hard luck award, that would be Ellingson, number 27, Lincoln Tech Machine. And he looked to his inside, Eddie Smith with the above the yellow line machine, trying to get to his inside. Got Jamie Barkus right there in front of him with Club Station on board. All great partners of this great GoatLocker League.
Nice to see some absolutely wonderful partners from this series and some pretty good racing action going on as well. We're on lap 7, and as we continue to go through this race, let's look at the man who's already punched his way into that championship 4. Here is driving in the 07 car. Finds himself an 8th at the present moment, and you can see the calm, cool, and collected face that he is wearing. He doesn't have to worry about making his way into that championship 4. He's already done it. He doesn't have to worry about anything. Needs to have a good night here and try and keep that momentum rolling heading into Texas. As much as Richmond and Texas are two completely different racetracks, it's important to have a good night here tonight for Drayvik. If he has a good night here, he's probably going to be feeling very good into that championship finale.
And if he wins, that guarantees one of those drivers, one of those 7 drivers that was trying to win their way in will not be able to do that. So that, you know, that's another part of this strategy, you know, racing here tonight. Maybe, you know, keep somebody out that was so close, and you never know how it could go. But right now up front, Evans and Gardner, playoff contenders up front. Whittington and Taylor right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, all playoff drivers. It's gonna be intense. These laps are already up to lap 10. We're about 105 to go.
Still 105 laps of racing action here at Richmond. These drivers have a lot of racing in front of them. And let's see how it's going to treat these drivers. Haven't seen any drama in the earlier stages, but knowing how our Dylan Coyle usually calls it, that will probably result in a yellow coming out in the next couple of laps. But nonetheless, let's see how this is all going to shake out. We may have some yellow intervention. We may have a solidly green race for these drivers. If it is green all the way through to the checker flag, I think there's some teammates in the form of Evans and Gardner are going to be a dynamic duo in this race. They're going to look to fend everyone off to try and make sure at least one of them makes their way into the championship.
Oh, contact there for Eddie Smith and Ellingson. No yellow yet.
Out of 1 and 2, the yellow knocked out, but he is still scraping against the wall, and that's the yellow coming out. Lucky number lap 13 is when the first yellow of this race comes at the 27 car. Now back up and rolling. Jacob Ellingson being one of the cars involved in that drama. That Camaro is a little bit dented in at the front end of the race car. I would say that it was the worst commentator's jinx, but it definitely wasn't my finest one, as about a minute after I mentioned how we may have a solidly green race, the first yellow coming out with this incident coming out of 1 and 2.
You learned from the great Dylan Coyle to make that happen. To make that yellow come out. As we were talking there earlier on as well, is we got drivers now coming down pit road. See the number 10 of Corinne Smith on pit road. It looks like possibly only 2 drivers stayed out so far, so it's everybody but 2 drivers are on pit road.
And this is an important round of stops for these drivers. You want to hit your marks as best as you possibly can, with the top 4 at the time of caution all being drivers involved in this playoff battle, looking to punch their way into the championship 4. This has a bit of importance at the end of it. Look at that. That is a very quick stop. That I have to imagine was a no tire stop. Look at the drag race coming out pit lane. Lots of drivers running side by side.
All right, take a look at this replay here. Jacob Ellingson right there. They were side by side. Eddie Smith, multiple laps. I think almost his whole 10 lap. Oh, Eddie Smith looks like just came up the track a little bit. Ellingson was a little bit off the wall maybe that time around. It is kind of both cars trying to go for the same same track space. We talked earlier on in the hard luck awards to go to Ellingson. Just seems to find it all season long, and I don't, from this angle, I can't say that was Ellingson's fault.
Potentially not. We're going to take a look at another angle of all this and try and get a closer view of that drama involving the 27 and the 87 coming out of the corner. You can see them side by side, diving their way off into 1 and 2. 87 on the inside line, 27. I gotta say, from that angle, it kind of looks like the 87 drifted up, but at the same time, how much room the 27 had to the outside. It just looked like 2 drivers trying to merge together coming out of the corner.
Yeah, definitely nothing intentional there. It was just 2 drivers finding that space. Did not work out, but guess what? Good news. Pace car lights are off. We got 2 new faces up here at the front. Got Jamie Barkas in the 15, the 25 of James Kaufman, the orange machine on his outside. These drivers did not take tires. We'll have to see what that advantage looks like just after 15 laps of usage.
Yeah, as much as Richmond is one of the newer tracks in terms of pavement, it's not like a track like, oh no, North Wilkesboro from a couple of years ago where it was basically a giant cheese grater. It's still not very forgiving on these tires as well, so let's see how it's going to go with 2 cars and, oh, a big stack of the 60 car getting spun down. That right there is one of our playoff contenders. That's Jason S. Taylor in that number 60 Mustang. He gets spun on this restart. They're still green. I wonder if the yellow is going to come out. That car is
big contact on that stretch.
Big contact, yeah, exactly right. That's a 25 car, potentially ending up on the wall.
Huge hole in the nose. Look at that, Evans. Huge damage for Evans. This restart's bringing out all the chaos for all these playoff drivers.
Yeah, look at the 07 of Patrick Drabeck. He's made his way up to 4th. Right as we were talking about him being the calm, cool, and collected customer. Look at him. He's chinging his way up into the top 5. That's a pretty good result. The 12 and the 39 side-by-side Evans with a big amount of damage on the front end of that race car. You can see, just looking at his face, a bit of a path there heading down into 1 and 2 as that 12 car of McCarty on the inside line. That's going to be a move done from McCarty to break his way into the top 5, and Evans dropping down to 6. You can see the displeasure on the face of the driver of the number 39 car. That's some pretty significant damage on the front end of that race car. As much as it may not be a huge amount of damage around a track that isn't too big when it comes to straight line speed, that's still going to make a huge difference, as you can see that big contact coming out 1 and 2.
Wow. That was big contact. So I believe the Jason Taylor incident there on the restart at the beginning, trying to digest all of this, he got loose. Let's see right here. It looks like Brandon Evans just got loose down the middle of the backstretch? Or did he go to the wrong gear? That was bizarre. I've never seen that before, but heavy damage to that right side. And the spots are just starting to bleed away right here. He's trying to do all he can to keep that car rolling. Get a caution here, try and get as much damage fixed as he can, but let's see if he can. Let's see if he's not the next caution, because that is big damage.
Yeah, that is huge damage on the front end of that race car. It's looking rough, as you can see the roughing up coming out of turn number 1 and 2. Yeah, just lost it on power, overcorrected into that outside wall, and around he goes. If that barrier wasn't there, that would have been a full-blown spin, but it's still a pretty significant moment. The 15 is your race leader. That's Barkus, who stayed out on track during that first yellow of this race. Whittington, Jesse Whittington, who entered this race right towards the bottom end of those playoff drivers, is slotted in P2. However, the 57 of Gardner right behind.
Gardner now looking to the inside of the 94 of Jesse Whittington is going to make that pass happen through turns 1 and 2. Whittington can cross over, but not able to make it happen. Throw Gardner. Fresh tires into P2, now going to chase down Jamie Barkus. I will give Jamie Barkus the credit as well. That tire strategy is working out quite well, as we got a live look-in with Jesse Whittington on board and in real life.
And getting the multi-view of these drivers, seeing their cars in the sim and how they're dancing around this racetrack, also seeing how they are in the real world as well. I'm not a psychologist, I don't pretend to be one, but I always like to see the facial expressions the drivers have, what their body language is in a race whenever they're under a whole lot of pressure. That's super, super cool to get a good view of as well. Patrick Drapick has slipped his way up to third very briefly as he's currently side by side with the 94 of Whittington. Jesse Whittington stuck on the outside as Patrick Drapick in that 07 car is on the inside. Looking at these front two of Barkus and Gardner, I wonder how much you're going to force this issue if you are Gardner. Down the inside, down into turn number 1. He's looking to get the move done in that 57 machine to slip his way up into a playoff championship for clinching spot. Gardner to the race lead.
And here are those tires of Barkus starting to fall off right here. A good 8-lap run here, I believe, on these tires. To, keep that in your back pocket for later in the race. If we got less than 5 laps to go, you only got a few laps in your tires, take it, try it out, because it worked out pretty good. Now he's starting to fall back a little bit, but hey, he's got 1 extra set compared to all he's at a pit. Oh, really close there for Whittington, but a great job keeping off the inside of Barkus.
As we go back again and look at the driver of the number 94 car currently getting moved put on him around the outside. That is Barkus, still side by side down that back straightaway off into 3 and 4. Jesse Whittington looking to find any sort of way in the book to punch his way into that championship four. One driver who's going to be feeling the burn as it stands at the present moment is Jason Taylor. With that moment that we saw, him getting spun on that restart, that's not going to be a good run at all. Currently slotted in P16. The only driver in front of him is Jacob Ellingson, who we saw involved in that first yellow of the race. Currently 5 laps down in the number 27 car as we take a look at a replay.
We have a quick look at the replay. I'm not sure if he missed a shift right there, but got tagged from behind and went for a ride through the grass.
Real stinger for Jason Taylor. Oh yeah, you can see that. You're exactly right there, Jeremy. Restarting this race in first, that's not a winning strategy at all.
Definitely not how he wanted that to happen, but right now he is a little bit faster than the cars in front of him, so trying to catch them as he try to get some more positions ahead, but he is losing a little bit of time to the leader, just 13 seconds behind. On this track, they are turning 22.5-second lap times right now, so it's not too awful, but hey, anything can happen as we got passing all around this track, and a lot can happen. I believe we still have to pit. Well, we don't have to pit for fuel, but some of these drivers didn't take tires. We'll have to take those tires at some point. I don't know if they can make it the whole way. It'll be very, very tough on these tires.
I think I may have said this earlier on today, but if these drivers don't take tires at any point in this race, they're going to be feeling about as much grip as a Fred Flintstone. Feeling it's going to be a real tough ride for these drivers if they stay out the entirety of this race. And if you want to be a part of this racing action, how about you scan that QR code on screen right now so you can join this wonderful community. These drivers always look to have a good show, and we've got a good one here at Richmond. looking through these drivers, Gardner, I would say probably the driver who's stood out the most to me in terms of a good performance, finds himself in a spot where he would be able to clinch his way into that championship for enter this race second in the points. Top of the drivers yet to clinch their way into the playoffs. But one driver who I am still keeping my attention on is the number 94 of Jesse Whittington. Entered this race 13 points below the cut line, 8th of those 8 drivers in this round of 8 race. And currently running in third in that number 94 car. He's quick.
I believe they can call it a gold car, I believe is the best way to go about there. A goldish yellow, and always great paint schemes out. Just decided to tap the wall a little bit right there and scrub a little bit of the wrap off of it, I guess you could say. And like you said, Jesse Whittington right now sitting in third, about 2/10 off, or about 1/10 off the leader's pace right now. We'll have to see how that plays later in the run. Right now, Jesse Whittington, Jamie Barkus, and Levi McCarty are your top 5.
And McCarty, another driver who entered this race a little bit farther in the back when it came to was the first driver out, in fact, in that number 12. So Levi Carter, that's looking pretty good. Entered this race 5th in the points. Is currently running 5th in this race. That'd be a pretty good performance. If he can hang on, worse something, a hiccup on the air. 39 laps now on the board of this 115 lap long race. We are rapidly approaching upon the halfway mark of this race, Jeremy. I want to ask you this. What driver performance has stuck out to you the most?
Right now, a good performance is that 15 of Jamie Barkus, honestly. Not in the playoffs, but been up in the top 5 all night long. Doing a tire strategy right here, so getting some pressure there from number 12 of McCarty, one of those playoff drivers. But yeah, Gardner trying to lock his way in with just a win, and we'll have to see if Jason Taylor can rebound from being the last playoff driver in the running order.
That's some pretty good performances all throughout this field. One driver, though, that I wonder if he's going to be on a charge is going to be that number 60 of Jason S. Taylor. Last 15 at the moment, 14 and a half seconds off of your race leader of Gardner in that number 57 sheet. There he is. There he is in the 60s. Saw him with that moment on the restart. Restarting in first, got hit up the back and spun through the grass. No yellow came out, and now finds himself right towards the back end of the grid. But Taylor got his way past the number 10, and he's now got to try and find a way to get past the number 7 of Abbott, heading down that back straightaway off it to turn number 3 and 4. The dive for the number 60 of Taylor. This would be a monumental effort of Jason Taylor to make his way back up into a position where he can contend to be involved in that championship four. But I can't even rule it out at all, Jeremy. He's quick.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to make a roll through the field. And this is the longest run of the night. With that first caution came out around lap 13. We are now 30-ish laps on these tires. These drivers are now having the longest run right now. The oldest tires right now is, like we said, Barkus with 44 laps on his.
Yeah, that is a great point that you raised, Jeremy, with a very long green flag run that we're in at the present moment. You can see these drivers, some of them haven't come for their pit stops. Barkus has run all 44 laps thus far on the same set of tires, which is the only driver to do so thus far. Smith, currently classed in P7, that number 87 car has already come in for 3 stops. So it shows you how important that the other tires are going to be. May end up seeing that 87 car make up a couple of spots. Currently have about a half a second window between themselves and Jules, so would be a bit of a climb back up. And speaking of a climb up, here's Taylor, just got a moved on Bobby Germain, the number 42 car, as now looking for a move on the 25 of Kaufman.
Whew. That 60 car found the field and just mowing up through it, up to P12 for Jason Taylor, one of our playoff drivers that had that mishap. You can see Kaufman in that number 25 damage from that restart when Brandon Evans got into the wall. Speaking of Brandon Evans, right now position P9 with that damage, praying for a caution to get it fixed.
We're looking at these racers running very, very good laps. It has spread out a little bit at the front of the field. The number 57 of Gardner is still your race leader. Drabick in the 07 already locked into the next round of the playoffs to fight for a championship in Texas in just 1 week's time. The 07 car running very, very quick. Whittington slotted in third, McCarty and Barricus rounding out your top 5 at the present moment. This has been an absolutely fantastic series to be a part of. My first time back on one of these broadcasts since October. Dylan Coyle unfortunately out here tonight. I have been drafted in as a replacement. This series, back when I had the fantastic opportunity to call it back in August, September, and October of 2024, was an absolute gem, and I'm very happy at this blown be a part of right towards the end of this season. And to put on this fantastic racing action, we have some absolutely divine partners, and one of them coming, of course, in the form of Cruisin Classics, because Cruisin Classics has been buying and selling cars for many, many years. The majority were your average daily drivers, but their passion has always been in muscle cars and hot rods. So in 1996, Cruisin Classics built a 56,000 square foot showroom located in Columbus, Ohio, and they still operate out of that to this day. All of their vehicles are handpicked and selected to ensure they fit their inventory. The facility is now arguably one of the best stock collections for sale in the U.S., having hundreds of unique automobiles all under one roof. We invite you to go to their facility. There is something for everybody when you come to visit. We would like to thank Cruisin Classics for being the primary sponsor of the Wednesday Night Next Gen Series and being with GLR from the very, very beginning. And this Cruisin Classics series wouldn't be complete if it weren't for some cruising drivers around this racetrack. Some feeling confident, others certainly not, as we saw some drivers have some puffs of smoke scraping that safer barrier coming out 1 and 2.
As we had that shot right there, you can see Jacob Ellingson was in that last shot. He's actually in 17th, 5 laps down, but he was running right behind the 5th place or 6th place driver, so he's gotten some speed just a couple laps down, hoping for some cautions to get him back. Right now, Jason Taylor, though, on the outside of Charles Feltz, trying to make that pass. That will put him up into 11th. You can see Tyler Justice right there in the 33. That is the 10th position. Jason Taylor trying to crack himself back into the top 10. I thought his money was going to go a lap down there earlier on, but look at him go, just making passes left and right.
That number 60 car and that driver behind the wheel, he is a man on a mission as it stands at the present moment in this race. But he has to, at this point, probably keep his fingers crossed for there to be some sort of yellow between now and the end of this race. As much as that number 60 car is quick, as he looks for a move around the outside of Justice, heading down into 1 and 2, Taylor really flexing his muscles at this point of this race. This long green flag run has saved him, but at the same time, he is still 17 seconds off of your race leader of Gardner, which is fine and all, as much as he has a quick race car, but he probably wants to be in contention for the race win. He entered this race 7th of the 8 drivers in this round of 8. He was about, my head, I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, he was also 13 points below that playoff cut line coming into this race. So for Jason S. Taylor, as much as he has now caught up to some of his playoff competitors, still probably hope for another yellow so he can jump up a little bit farther from where he finds himself.
I tell you what, though, he is doing some good work going from dead last up to 9th place. All under green here, doing a great job. Sometimes you get a light of fire underneath you when something like that happens. It gets you kind of angry, it gets you light up, and he's making it happen. That's quite the story we're having here tonight with Jason Taylor. A story on the wrong end of that is Brandon Evans, right there just behind him. He had that damage and just been kind of going backwards, and he needs a caution to get that damage fixed. His teammate right now has been in the lead. They both started up on the front row and kind of backing up right now, just hoping for a caution.
And as we continue to see this race approach its halfway mark, we talked about them a couple of moments ago, but we have some absolutely fantastic partners here at GoatLocker. And as we're 60 laps into this race, let's hear a little bit about it.
I highly recommend her. You won't find anybody as good as Jan Privy. Jam is a friendly and professional company that just doesn't do print to make sure that you grow and your business grows to the next level.
They are a very community-focused organization. They donate to every event in the area.
Every time I hand out one of Jam's printed materials, I get a ton of compliments, and that's the power of Jam printing.
One thing with Jam is it is a veteran-owned company, and that really resonates with me.
Jam Printing is like no other. Their dedication to customer service is amazing.
If you're looking to amp up your marketing, Jam Printing and Promotions is the place to go.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's coverage of the GoatLocker Racing Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series. We just had a big moment coming out of 1 and 2. We remain under green flag conditions. Under that commercial break, we also saw Jesse Whittington, one of the top running playoff drivers all throughout this race in that number 94 car, come down pit lane. Green flag pit stops already going on at the present moment. 66 laps into this 115 lap race. Myself, Ron Mons, and Jeremy Briggs with you on the car. Paul Marty Zakala is working all the cameras in the virtual production hauler, and here was a moment that nearly spelled disaster for some of these drivers. And near yellow, you can see that 33 car scraping the wall, and look at that big check, a big stacking up. The 42, the 25, all getting a piece of that action. That could have brought out a yellow, and that would have been a game changer.
Lots of cars coming down pit road down. You can see Dravic now. Whittington almost a second faster. Yeah, he's running a 22.34. Leader was a 23.65. So these tires are really fast right now. Whittington trying to take advantage of them here quickly. He's almost spelled disaster for his strategy right there, as we almost had a yellow. He just had his tires on for about 2-3 laps.
And here's your race leader of Gardner coming down pit lane in the number 57 car. This is going to give the lead to McCarty in the number 12. McCarty, one of those other playoff drivers, you can see him marked out in yellow. Drapic, the driver of the 07, already punched his way into the championship 4. He'll be contending for a championship next time at Texas in just 1 week's time. But here it is. This is a money stop for these races. Just past the halfway mark. McCarty is your race leader. Taylor slotted in P2. That driver, the number 60 car, has been on the comeback tour after getting spun out on the last restart and not bringing a yellow out. Here we go, though. This is going to work out surprisingly well for the number 60. Lots of these racers coming down pit lane. We have the top 5 on the lead lap, and just about everyone else who has come down pit lane 1 lap down. Justice in the number 33 car has called it a night. Ellington in the number 27 car has been multiple laps down after being involved in this and then brought out the first yellow of this race. Still out there on track, albeit running in 15th in the number 27 machine, 5 laps down. But here we go, Jeremy. This is the oh so important section of this race. A yellow at this point in time would spell disaster for some of these drivers on that alternate strategy.
Right now, Whittington, who was able to jump Gardner, has a 3.3 second lead over Gardner. Now unlapping himself right now around the number 12. He's trying to set sail and break away from Gardner as quick as he can because he knows his tires are equal here shortly. He's got about a 6-7 lap advantage, or had that advantage, so it's going to fade out here quickly. We'll see how it plays out.
That's the thing with the advantage here. It can disappear within the blink of an eye. One little trip up heading into some of these corners could spell disaster for you. We are still waiting to see how the rest of this race shakes out. Coming up to the late stages now, and this is going to be a true bare-knuckle fist fight all the way through to the fall of the checkered flag. 74 laps, coming to 75 this time by, in which we will finally be in that final 40-lap stretch to make it to the checkered flag and set that championship for. We've been talking about Whittington in that number 94 machine a lot throughout this broadcast. Enter this race right towards the tail end of those playoff points. I believe was 8 of the 8 drivers in this round of 8 grid, but that 94 car has come to battle here in Richmond.
Trying to set sail. A little bit of space right now between him and Gardner, but obviously it'll close up here eventually. So Whittington trying to just dip and dive through all this traffic right now, setting himself in P4, closing in the leader who's trying to stay as long as he can.
And should be noted, some of the other drivers involved in that incident that brought us back from that commercial break. Kaufman and Feltz, they're currently in the pit with 25 and 75 cars respectively. They have not completely retired from this race, but they're stuck in the pit lane probably with some significant repairs, or they just decide to call it an evening. Bobby Germain, the number 42 car, currently 2 laps down. Barkus, who at one point was your race leader, had that alternate strategy after staying out through that first yellow flag period. Themselves in P13 at the present moment, 3 laps down to your race leader, which is still McCarty. The top 7 on the lead lap as it stands at the present moment. Patrick Drapek in that 07 car, the driver who's already punched his way into that championship 4, is currently running an 8. We talked about him a little bit earlier on, Jeremy, about how that 07 car may be in it for the long haul and is looking to win this race here in Richmond instead of just having a good night. I wouldn't necessarily rule it out. He's coming here to have some fun as he just got moved on to 39 of Evans to slip up into 7th.
Passes as quick as they can with those fresh tires. Evans trying to stay out here as long as he can on those older tires. He's got Evans right now has 64 laps on his tires compared to the other drivers. McCarty right there behind him, going to make this pass pretty easily here shortly. Right to his bumper.
Oh, he's gonna rock him. Around he goes. A tap from the 12. That's going to send the 39 of Evans around, and there comes the yellow. He is going to be fuming behind the wheel of that number 39 car. It was a tap, a nudge, and a rub coming at turn number 1 and 2, the 12. Given the old bootscoon boogie to bring out the second yellow of this race. The 39 car with a pretty wild ride for the second time in this race. Some damage on the 39 as well after an incident down the backstretch.
Boy, do I feel like a fool. I said they should be able to get around him quite easily. He just goes right into his back bumper, I suppose. Let's take a look at this Maconi Entertainment replay here with Zacala giving us a great shot here. Let's see what happens. McCarty just drives it off the exit of 1, just right into the back bumper of Evans. They're not too sure if Evans had to get out of the gas or what, but Evans more damage and everybody's coming down pit road.
As we take a look at another angle of this replay, the 12, in my view, this was not a very smart strategy. I think the 39 is not going to be happy at all with the 12, and you can see that moment. That was McCarty who entered this race P5 in the points, putting on a pretty bold move, if I do say so myself. But here it is, the second yellow of this race, bringing another series of stops. These drivers getting to the point where they're going to be out of fuel sets here soon. Tire sets, I should say. My apologies. Not entirely sure what a fuel set would imply, but with 3 tire changes allotted to these competitors in this 115 lap long race, I have a feeling, Jeremy, that some of these drivers may have just borne along the last set of good years.
We'll take a look at the strategies going on throughout this field. Drivers are going to get all back in line, and Whittington, I believe, will end up being our leader.
As we continue to see this field under yellow, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
Back again with the coverage of the GoatLocker Racing Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series here on Maconi Entertainment. About to get the restarts underway here in a couple of moments' time. 84 laps already completed in this 115 lap long race. At the end of this second yellow, with a vast majority of the field coming down pit lane. Some of these drivers may have just put on their last set of tires. It was a yellow that was a dream scenario for the number 94 of Jesse Whittington and the 60 of Jason Taylor. These two drivers have had completely different evenings. The 60 got spun on the restart for a bad one, and for the second time in a row, the 60 having a terrible jump. This time by doesn't take a quick trip through the grass after getting a check up the back, but Taylor dropping down to third. Whittington got to jump up into the race lead. Drapic in the 07 car is already punched his way into that championship four for the next race of this season at Texas. Is slotted in P2, but Taylor getting off to another rough restart.
Yeah, take a look at that running order. Jesse Whittington. Oh, he's in the wall! Whittington snapped and he's in the wall. His race is done.
And that is game over for Jesse Whittington in the number 94. He had a good shot to make his way into the championship four, and he pushes that wheel over and leaves his sim rig in pure unbridled disgust. He had the race lead. The strategy in the yellow worked out perfectly, but for the driver of the number 94 car, it will be disappointment here at Richmond. His championship aspirations are done, but that's not it for the drama. I think we've got some pit stops coming here with this third yellow, potentially for the drivers that stayed out last time by, as we take a look at this replay to see the number 94's chance of making his way into that championship four get disappeared over the blink of an eye.
I don't know if he just carried too much speed into the turn and it just snapped on him, but man, Whittington was going to be such a good story, and unfortunate end to almost a Cinderella-like walk-off win here. Oh, it was right at his feet. Downshifts right there. It just spins out. And wow, so quick to the right. I could do nothing with it. Luckily, nobody else involved.
I think there may have been a driver who actually clipped the number 94 of Whittington. Let's follow the number 10 of Green Smith in that Toyota, heading down into 1 and 2. Whittington already had that incident. The number 10 spinning to the apron, and oh, contact being made with the 10 and the 7 coming out of the corner.
Was that after the yellow came out?
I believe that may have been right as the yellow come out. Right as the yellow come out. Either way, though, another incident.
Close call.
I was thinking that the 94 may have gone correct, but nonetheless, unfortunate for Whittington. Entered this race P8 in the points. As you said, Jeremy, it would have been a Cinderella story for the driver of the number 94 car to enter this race. 8th of 8 drivers in this round of 8 race, and then punch their way into that championship four. It's not going to be for Whittington. He's out of this race. He's out of the sim rig, and that is going to be pure, unbridled, just absolute disappointment. Unfortunate for Whittington.
Absolutely unfortunate for Whittington. And if you want to join this great racing here with GoatLocker Racing, scan that QR code right there on your screen tonight. That is a QR code that'll lead you to the, I'm not sure, I think it might be the Discord. I'm not sure. I might be wrong there, but check it out. GoatLocker Racing, always having great racing each and every week, and they do great things for veterans in the real life, giving away sim rigs. And that's just one of the many reasons I love being a part of this broadcast, is what GoatLocker's mission is all about.
We are bracing for what may very well be the last restart of the day. 90 laps completed of 115. We're in the final flat-out blast. It's going to be 24 laps of racing action left here at Richmond tonight. It's the 07 of Drabick and the 60 of Taylor. Taylor stuck on the outside line. Let's see how this restart goes for the driver, the number 60. It's another slow one, but he's out in a way. That's probably the best one he's had thus far. Drabick in the 07 car jumping out to the race lead is side by side between Gardner and Taylor for P2 and P3. But Gardner in the 12 car looking to fight back.
We talked about it earlier on that Drabick was trying to just keep somebody else from clinching their way in, and he did just that. Whittington was in front of him. I was just going to spit off my tongue about how Whittington was the last car in the playoffs, and that Drabick was first, and unfortunately Whittington spun out before I could even finish saying it, as they are side by side here for second. Taylor, Gardner trying to punch their ticket into the playoffs. In the championship race. Oh, Taylor almost into the wall there. They're trying to chase down Drabick, who's already into the championship round.
Yeah, and Drabick in the 07 car, how do you attack the end of this race if you are the driver of the 07? You find yourself in the race lead, but you've got 4 playoff drivers looking to punch their way in with a victory. Do you let them go by? Do you try and fight this a little bit? Look at that calm, cool, and collected face on Patrick Drabick. That is the face of a man that knew coming into this race that he didn't have to go out here and grab the checkered flag. He didn't have to worry about points. He didn't have to run some numbers in his head. He just had to go out here, drive the race car, and drive it as well as he could. That's part of the reason why he finds himself in the race at the present moment. He is comfortable. He's in the fast lane, shifting gears and trying to pull that gap to himself in Gardner.
That's so smooth, or a live look at Cam. As we're now on top of the Gardner machine, looking out straight ahead, you can see the 07 of Drabick. He is trying to hunt him down, as they're currently just a half a second apart. Last lap was a 22.07 for Drabick, a 22.09 just behind him for Gardner, so extremely close laps here for our 2 leaders.
Patrick Drabick is on a tear in that 07 car, just at the fastest lap of the race not terribly long ago. And as we approach that crucial and oh so valuable 100 lap mark, Drabick pulling that gap to himself and Gardner in the number 57 car. We've now reached the point where we have to think about how things are going to shake out for these drivers. Jesse Whittington entered this race P8, finds himself in 14th at the moment in the number 94 car after that crash, heading off into turn number 1. He is out of it. Jason S. Taylor, on the other hand, this is an interesting piece. He entered this race P7 in the points, currently running 3rd and 2nd of the drivers who have yet to punch their way into that championship pool. I'm not sure how the points will work out for the driver of the number 60 car, but I think he would be in the clear if he could just hang on.
Can we talk about Jason Taylor's night so far too? Getting spun out there earlier on and now finding himself running in 3rd. He was making all those passes under green, and now, like, we were talking about how he had speed, but look at him in the top 3. You can see leader out his windshield trying to get him down. I gotta give, this is a hard charger award here, you know. I know it doesn't show in the starting positions, but man, from the back to the front with all that green flag racing, Jason Taylor has not gone down without a fight.
Yeah, Jason S. Taylor, he may have been down, but he's never been out of it. That driver of the number 60 car, he has put on a very valiant effort up to this point. Running in 3rd, about a second between himself and Patrick Drabick in the race lead. Looking at some of the other drivers that we've got in this field, here is the 36 of Jewel, involving a small little battle involving non-playoff drivers, the 7 of Abbott and the 10 of Smith. Actually, that's not the 10 of Smith. That right there is Barkas, and the number 15 car right in tow. You have to go back 2 seconds back to number 36 of Jewel to find Smith in that number 10 car. Nevertheless, side-by-side racing maybe got flare up involving the 7 who overshoots turn 3 a little wildly. That's going to allow Jewel to get that move done to slip his way up into 6th. We've got battles going on all throughout this field. Now with 14 to go, we've officially broken that lap 100 barrier.
Pretty decent runs here for Jewel, Abert, and Current Smith here. All in the top 10, having decent nights. Drivers not in the playoffs, drivers in the playoffs. A lot going on here. those 3 drivers not in the playoffs, spoiling up 3 spots in the top 10.
And that is going to be a real kick in the shins to 2 drivers in particular. The number 87 of Eddie Smith entered this race right at that cut line. Entered this race 4th. Finds himself in 9th at the present moment in that number 87 car. Had some pace earlier on, but got involved in some drama, and ever since then has dropped down for only 1 lap down from the race leader of Patrick Trevick. The 39 car, though, of Brandon Evans started this race from the pole, picking up the Jam Printing and Promotions pole award in the process. But ever since then, it has been a wild ride for the Pro 9. 2 incidents coming out of 1 and 2. Found himself in 10th at the present moment. Those 2 drivers who have just mentioned running line of start in 9th and 10th. They entered this race 3rd and 4th in that playoff bubble, right on that bubble. I don't think they're going to make it. This may be a just fairyland scenario from, I believe it would be Taylor in the 60 and McCarty in the 12 who entered this race just outside of the playoff bubble.
As we take a look at this battle for the lead, Drebeck now has a mere full of the 57 of Jeremy Gardner. Looks like Drebeck's getting really good exits, but Gardner's getting ever so slightly better on entries. Last lap around, Drebeck was a 57, Gardner was a 48. They are very close in lap times, hunting each other down.
Yeah, it is still a heads-up brawl between these 2 drivers. Now coming to 8 laps left to go here at Richmond. Patrick Drebeck already has that golden ticket to race for a championship at Texas in just 1 week's time. Gardner, as much as he would be in the catbird seat, entered this race pretty good in points, P2. This would still be a nice little bit of assurance for the driver of the number 57 machine. Let's see, it's about a 10th and a half between those 2 drivers now coming to 7 to go.
07 and Drebeck doing a very good job of a great defensive line of not letting the 57 get to his inside. You can see the 57 having some slight grip issues on the exits as he's going to get to the back bumper of the 07. He's going to try and move him out of the way. That was a very clean, bumper to bumper contact. So, he's letting him know he's there. He's letting him know he's faster. Let's see if he can get around him here with just these few laps to go.
And never say never. Here's the 60 car of Jason S. Taylor. 0.7 of a second is the gap between Taylor and Drebeck in the race lead, but you can just see it. It's a visual difference between those cars. It's not a lot. It's not that much. Drebeck and Gardner are not alone in this battle. If they come to blows, if they rough each other up a little bit, Taylor would be in that catbird seat to take advantage of that opportunity and jump into the race lead. Drebeck still holding on to it, heading down into 3 and 4. Gardner getting oh so close. I wonder if it's going to result in a bit of bumper-to-bumper action.
When you want to be the best.
Let's see if he goes here for the dive. Does not just yet. He knows he's faster, he's being patient, but we know these laps are winding down. What is he going to do on the white flag? Is he waiting for the white flag? What's the 07 believe what's going to happen here? He's just being smooth. He knows he's locked in, doesn't need to do anything stupid. Let the 57 do what he wants, but he's just trying to keep that bottom sealed up.
And what do you do if you are Patrick Drebeck? You got Gardner running right behind. He wants to make his way into that championship 4. Do you let him, though, is the real question. It's going to be a slam dunk from Gardner if he risks it and tries to go for that move, and he ends up wrecking himself, entering this race 2nd in the points. He may very well be out of it. This is going to be a real intense end to this race. 2 to go here at Richmond. Drebeck in the race lead, Gardner in P2. Taylor still within striking distance, rounding at your podium in 3rd as they head their way onto that backstretch. I wonder if the 57 of Gardner has that pace. Drop back a little bit as of recent, now 0.3 of a second, the gap between those 2 with a little bit of a scrape from the 57. The white flag in the air, only 1 more lap of racing action here at Richmond, and Patrick Drebeck finds it with a 0.3 of a second lead between himself and the number 57 down into turn number 1 and 2. The final time, Patrick Drebeck entered this race with practically no pressure compared to his competitors. He punched his way into that championship 4 race at Texas, and with this win at Richmond, he's going to have that momentum. Patrick Drebeck is your winner at Richmond. Gardner, Taylor running at your podium. McCarty finishes 4th in the number 12 car, and I believe potentially just punches way into the playoffs.
Wow. What a barn burner of a finish between Gardner and Patrick Drabeck, and that's another example of this great race that GoatLocker puts on each and every week through all their series. If you were to go in an iRacing official, I bet you probably would have been a dump right there, but great, smart, clean racing there by Jeremy Gardner, gave him a big shot. Just looks like Gardner just could not make it happen, so what a finish there. Drabeck, 2 in a row going into the Championship 4 race.
That is going to be a whole lot of momentum for the 07. He's going to be happy for the next race of this season, looking to win a championship at Texas in just 1 week's time. But as these winners burn it down, we're going to take a quick little commercial break here. Maconi Entertainment. Be right back with some results, some interviews, and to give you a nice little preview for the championship finale race in Texas in just 1 week's time.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
X terms are equal, the graphs of the two lines will be parallel.
You ready to get out of here? Let's go. Come on. Lincoln Tech, the school for people who hate school.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
And welcome back, everybody, to this evening's coverage of the GoatLocker Racing Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series at Richmond. It is the 07 of Patrick Drabeck, your race winner yet again. He already entered this race with a clean golden ticket to make his way into that championship 4. He's going to be racing for a championship in Texas regardless of 1 week's time. Going to be doing it with a heck of a lot of momentum. And with that being said, let's take a look at the results at the end of this race here at Richmond tonight. As Patrick Drabeck, your winner in the 07 car, he finishes 3.5 tenths of a second in front of Jeremy Gardner in P2. Jason S. Taylor rounds out your podium in 3rd. Levi McCarty finishes in 4th. Timothy Wilms finishes in 5th. We have George Jewell in 6th, the top running of the non-playoff drivers. Charles Abbott finishes in 7th. Corrine Smith finishes in 8th. Eddie Smith and Brandon Evans running at your top 10.
In 11th position, you've got Jamie Barkus. In 12th, you've got Jacob Ellingson. 13th, Bobby Germain. 14th, Jesse Whittington. 15th goes to James Kaufman. 16th, Charles Feltz. And 17th, running out our field, Tyler Justice.
And some drivers unfortunately having some rather tough races here tonight at Richmond, but some drivers also having some fantastic ones at the end of it all as well. And Jeremy, I'm going to let you start things off with the interview and have a chat with a man who had a wild race, that being our P3 finisher of Jason S. Taylor.
We're going to bring, like you said, Jason S. Taylor up into the broadcast booth, finishing in 3rd position. Man, what a roller coaster of a night with everything going on. Not sure how your playoffs have filed out yet up here in the broadcast booth, but man, all that work, I turned into a little bit of a fanboy when I was up here watching you march back to that field, man, and you came back to finish 3rd. Walk us from your perspective through your night.
So I messed up and spun them and then just got plowed through on the restart there, and then Boy, I didn't know I was that quick, but I was pretty daggum quick, and I think I naturally got up to 8th before people started pitting, somewhere around there. And then I was just like, well, everybody's pitting early before I am, so I'm just gonna stay out and hope for a caution. Got that caution. And then I just really didn't have early run speed. I think if we would have went if we would have went on a long run again or had a long run to finish the race, and I was in restarting third or second, I could have won because I was 2-3 tenths faster at the end of the run there. So it's disappointing. I had a really bad race last week at Kansas. I'm gonna miss the championship race by probably about 5 points here, and just a overall disappointing season. If you don't mind, I'd just like to shout out a couple of the Cruisin Classics and Nasty's Bar and Restaurant, obviously, iRacing, and Above the Yellow Line Sim Motion, and you guys broadcasting. I love watching your broadcasts on Wednesdays, and you got a Saturday night broadcast I really enjoy watching too. And my boys back at the Black Flag Shop and Ralph Hutchison Motorsports. You guys helping me prepare for these playoffs, and I stepped on it for sure.
Well, like you said, you fell just a few points short, but you definitely did not go down without a fight here tonight, Jason. Congratulations on a third place finish, a decent season so far for you. Good luck next week in the championship finale that you're not going to be a part of, but at least you can try to go out there and grab a dub.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and try to get my second championship next season. So
there you go.
Let's go out and try to do that.
All right, you heard it here first. Defending
win at
champion.
Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you. Yeah, who wouldn't? We're chasing checkers. That's why we're here, right?
Not.
Absolutely. All right, Jason. Thank you so much for your time. Hopefully, we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, boys.
And that right there is our P3 finisher of Jason S. Taylor. And as Jeremy's been doing that, I've been able to grab Jeremy Gardner, our P2 finisher at the end of this race. Jeremy, welcome into the booth. It's not that victory, but still a P2. And with the point situation coming into this race, I believe you've just punched yourself a golden ticket into that race at Texas to contend for a championship. So how was your race here at Richmond tonight?
It was actually fun, man. We had very minimal cautions, short track racing. I got out front there for a while, and sadly, the cautions didn't fly my way. I mean, I started to run away from the field there, but like I said, man, cautions didn't play my favor tonight. I was honestly just trying to. I kind of wanted to run Pat hard there at the end. I wasn't going to wreck him. I was definitely going to show him I was there, but overall, it was a great night. I'm just glad I locked myself in a championship race. I just wanted to be consistent tonight. Just show I was there.
And it certainly showed that that number 57 car was quick all throughout tonight. I want to ask you about that battle between yourself and Patrick Drabeck right towards the end of that race. Considering the point situation coming into this, the fact that he entered this race P2 with a pretty surefire way to end up in that championship race, did that kind of affect the way you went about that battle towards the end?
Yeah, I mean, he's already locked in, but I mean, me being me, I'm here to win races. I hate finishing second, but tonight's an exception. Like I said, I just wanted to make the last round. I just wanted to go be able to compete for a championship next week. It'd be my first next gen championship race, so see how it goes. But like I said, yeah, I wasn't gonna run him dirty right there. I love Pat, great guy. Even though I would honestly love to wreck him, but I'm not going to. Nah, man, me and him get along great. We've had some run-ins in the past on accident, but that's just how me and him are when we run together. We run pretty damn hard. So, congrats to him tonight. That definitely worked out well for him. I just, like I said, at the end there, right there, I just started to run my own pace. I wasn't going to try and screw it up. I was getting really loose, making a lot of mistakes, and I definitely didn't want to spin out and cost myself a run at the Final Four. So.
And speaking of that championship finale race at Texas in 1 week's time, pretty big departure from here at Richmond. So what are your thoughts heading into it?
I got some pretty good thoughts on that. My best tracks happen to be the 1.5 miles, so pretty good at the long runs there at the 1.5 miles. I'm pretty good at Texas, probably one of my top 5 best tracks. So I think we'll put on a good show next week. I think we'll come out with this thing.
Yeah, and I'll certainly be keeping my eyes on you and all of the Championship 4 contenders, see who's going to come out on top at that race in Texas. But Jeremy, thank you for joining us here in the commentary booth. And before we let you get ready for that championship finale race, is there anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Yeah, man. Pat and Jamie, appreciate them guys. Those guys are absolutely amazing. Appreciate everything they do for the league, the veteran community, Jam Printing and Promotions, Cruisin Classics for putting on this series. I appreciate them guys. Appreciate y'all guys. Y'all put on the hell of a broadcast tonight. Love to go back and watch them. Alexander PCs and my guys at Premier Racing Setups. And shout out to my teammate tonight. He had a pretty bad night, and he made a hell of a run there towards the end to make it. I think he had like 9 minutes of damage and still made the final four. So it's gonna be cool to race again against him next week. So.
Man, talk about a comeback tour from both of you. But hey, thank you for joining us here in the commentary booth, Jeremy. Thank you as well for the kind words about us on the broadcast, and excited to see you contend for a championship at Texas in just 1 week's time.
Yes, sir. We're gonna see y'all next week.
That we certainly will. That right there was our P2 finisher of Jeremy Gardner behind the wheel, that number 57 Camaro. But Jeremy, I'll let you do the honors of interviewing the 07, grabbing his 4th win of the season.
Yes, we have Patrick Drabeck. This man is on a mission. Had the easiest week coming into this week and goes out there and wins it. I guess you're on the highest of highs right now to go into that championship 4. Walk us through your night tonight. I guess is a good start, man. You had the fastest lap and you led 30 laps, and obviously came home with a win after starting 12th.
Yeah, I mean, terrible qualifying effort. Got real tight coming out of 4 on my money lap and hit the wall. And so started P12, just kind of started to pick my way up through the crowd. And then really it was just a couple of circumstances. I hate it for Jason Taylor. I got into the back of him on that one restart. He spun his tires real good and just ended up in my lap. So I hate it for him. Glad to see him battle back to P3. Evans had some trouble, and that kind of got a couple cars and let me advance up through a little bit. And then, a couple other things happened, and I found myself, kind of there behind Jeremy Gardner. And then on that restart, things just kind of got jumbled up, and I was able to kind of jump out there and take the lead and not look back, man. So, hella surprised and happy to get this win here tonight at Richmond, especially in this Save 22 machine, man.
Absolutely. And enough about tonight. Your thoughts going into next week. You've got the most recent wins and you're going to Texas. What are your thoughts on Texas? What are your plans?
Well, you almost hope you don't win tonight because it's going to be tough to try to win 3 races in a row after winning in Kansas and Richmond.
Yeah.
But hell yeah, on a roll. I love Texas. I think it's going to be a fun race. It's a fun track. It's a wide open track. Turns 1 and 2 can be pretty tricky there. So I'm excited for it. Love. We're gonna decide the championship at that track for sure.
Well, continuing the great tradition of this great GoatLocker Racing week in and week out, who do you got to thank for all the awesome partners that make this happen?
Yeah, I mean, a huge shout out to Jeremy Gardner. Man, he raced me clean those last 10 laps. Gave me a couple shots as he should have, but raced me extremely clean. And man, he had the car to beat here tonight. So a little gutted for him tonight, but happy to, like I said, Save 22. They got the big hike going on this weekend. So it's so awesome to continue to park their car in victory lane each and every week. So I'm so excited for that organization and the partnership that we've got moving forward. Lincoln Tech, got a big meeting with them on Friday. We got a lot of things to discuss, but big, car show coming up in June at the Indianapolis campus that I'm excited for. And then of course Cruisin Classics and Nasty's Restaurant and Bar. They've been with us from the absolute beginning, and I love having them as partners, and they've become good friends and a part of the family. And then the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, I kind of wear this hat in honor of them. It's not their hat or anything, but I found it and I thought it was really cool. But we're in the middle of another grant cycle with them. We'll find out in the middle of May if we get selected for the grant again this year, which I'm assuming we will. So there's just so many cool things happening here at GoatLocker Racing, outside of what happens here on iRacing, but a lot of cool things happening here at iRacing. So happy to go race for a championship next week in Texas. Happy to get my 4th win on the season here in Next Gen, and super stoked, man. Just super stoked, man.
Well, congratulations again on another win back-to-back. We'll see if you can go for that three-peat next week. Congratulations, Patrick.
All right, brother.
And that right there was the boss man and the boss here at Richmond, Patrick Drabick, your winner at the end of this race, Jeremy. Well, we have one more race left to go. Texas in 1 week's time to crown a champion. Got some very good competitors going to be hitting the racetrack to try and seal the deal. That's going to be a good one.
It's extremely bittersweet because this racing's been so good. I can't wait to get the championship race. It's going to be some awesome racing. I'm sure drivers are going to be on the edge trying to do whatever they want. It's going to be sad that it's the last race of the spring championship season for 2025, but it's going to be great racing, and I can't wait for what comes forward after this. But yeah, this race right here was awesome. Great racing all night. Lots of green flag racing like it is every week with GoatLocker. They do a great job with that, and hopefully anybody scan that QR code, they check it out because it's worth it.
And there is that QR code right there if you'd like to get started here in the GoatLocker Racing Leagues, be a part of either this Next Gen series or some of the other racing action that GoatLocker puts on. You can scan that QR code right there and get started. But I think with all of that squared away, talking about how you can join this series and talking about the fantastic racing action we have to bring the 2025 spring season to a close, I think that'll just about do it for this broadcast. From my perspective, delighted to be back here for the first time since about middle of October. This was an absolute barn burner of a race. You'll have Dylan Coyle and Jeremy Briggs on the call for the next race of this season to crown a champion at Texas, and hopefully all of you tuning into this broadcast on Maconi Entertainment will stay tuned for that race. Gives you a good reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of the racing action. But as for this broadcast this evening here on Maconi Entertainment, I think that will just about do it. And so for myself, Ron Mullins, Jeremy Briggs joining me in the commentary booth, and Marty Zakala doing a wonderful job working on the cameras in the virtual production hauler, I say thank you also very much for watching this broadcast on Maconi Entertainment tonight, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.